Imagine heat, not the warmth of a fire, but a heat so intense it glows white. You are on your knees in the dirt. Your hands are chained behind your back. Two massive guards are holding your head in a vice grip, forcing your eyes open. In front of you, a man is holding a heavy iron ladle. Inside it, a liquid is bubbling. It looks like water, but it is heavy, thick. It is silver, molten silver, heated to 1,700 degrees. You try to scream, but the air is caught in your throat. You know what is coming. You know why you are here. You loved silver more than life itself. And now, you are going to consume it. The ladle tips forward. The liquid metal hits your eyes. And for a split second, before the darkness takes you forever, you realize the fatal mistake you made. You didn't just steal from a king. You stole from the devil. To understand the horror of this moment, we have to go back to the beginning, to the mistake that burned an empire. The year is 1218. The location is the wealthy city of Otrar, a jewel on the Silk Road. The man on his knees wasn't always a prisoner. His name was Inalchuq, the governor, the most powerful man in the region. He lived in a palace of marble and gold. He controlled the trade routes. He thought he was untouchable. One day a caravan appeared on the horizon. It was massive, 450 merchants, 500 camels loaded with the finest goods from the east, silk, rare furs, and chests of silver. They were not invaders. They were emissaries. They carried a personal letter from a rising warlord in the east named Genghis Khan. The letter was respectful. It read, "I am the master of the lands of the rising sun. You are the master of the lands of the setting sun. Let there be friendship and trade between us." It was an offer of peace. But Inalchuq didn't see peace. He saw profit. He looked at the camels heavy with gold. He looked at the defenseless merchants, and greed took over his mind. He accused them of being spies. It was a lie, and he knew it. He just wanted their wealth. He ordered the execution of every single merchant. Imagine the scene in the market square. 450 men, innocent traders, butchered one by one. Their blood ran into the gutters of Otrar. Inalchuq seized their gold, seized their silver, and wiped his hands. He made one mistake. One merchant escaped. This lone survivor ran across the desert. He ran until his feet bled. He ran all the way back to the Mongol camp to tell the Khan what happened. When Genghis Khan heard the news, he didn't scream. He didn't rage. He went to a sacred mountain. He took off his hat. He placed his belt around his neck in a sign of humility. And he prayed to the eternal blue sky for 3 days and 3 nights. When he came down, his eyes were cold. He had only one order for his generals. "I am not the author of this trouble, but I will be the end of it." The Mongols arrived at Otrar not to conquer, but to punish. It wasn't a battle. It was an extermination. For 5 months, the city was under siege. Inside the walls, Inalchuq watched his nightmare unfold. The Mongols didn't just attack. They played with their prey. They cut off the water supply. They catapulted diseased bodies over the walls. Inside Otrar, the people began to starve. The history books tell us it got so bad that people were boiling leather shoes just to drink the broth. They were eating cats, dogs, and eventually each other. Inalchuq watched from his high tower as his people turned into skeletons. He knew there was no escape. He knew the Mongols weren't leaving until everyone was dead. Finally, the walls were breached. The Mongol horde poured into the city like black water. They didn't loot, they slaughtered every man, woman, and child. But they had specific orders for the governor. Do not kill him, take him alive. Inalchuq retreated to the citadel, the innermost fortress. He fought like a cornered animal. Legend says that when he ran out of arrows, he and his wife started ripping bricks from the palace walls and throwing them down at the Mongol soldiers. He was throwing pieces of his own home at the inevitable. But you cannot fight a tidal wave with bricks. They dragged him out in chains. They dragged him through the ruins of his city, past the mountains of bodies, to the feet of the Khan. And now we are back to the molten silver. Genghis Khan looks at the man who killed his messengers. He doesn't look angry, he looks disappointed. He asks a simple question. You liked my silver so much? The furnace is roaring. The ladle is ready. In Mongol culture, justice is poetic. If you steal, you lose a hand. If you lie, you lose a tongue. And if your eyes coveted silver so much that you were willing to kill 450 innocent men for it, then your eyes shall have it. Pour it, the Khan commands. The guards force Inalchuq's head back. He screams, begging for mercy. But the Mongols do not know mercy for oathbreakers. The first pour goes into his right eye. The silver is 1,700 degrees Fahrenheit. It doesn't just burn, it destroys the structure of the skull. It cauterizes the nerve instantly. The fluid inside the eye boils and explodes. The pain is white, absolute. It overrides every other sensation in the body. Then the second pour, into the left eye. Blindness, darkness, agony. But the Khan is not done. He heard the clinking of coins, the Khan says. Fill his ears. The molten metal is poured into his ear canals. It burns through the drums, flooding into the brain cavity. The screaming stops. Not because the pain is gone, but because the brain can no longer send the signal. Inalchuq, the governor of Otrar, falls forward into the dust. He died having seen and heard more wealth than any man in history, directly inside his own head. This was not just an execution, it was a message. Genghis Khan left the body there, a warning to every king, every governor, every emperor on the Silk's road. The message was simple. You can fight the Mongols. You can surrender to the Mongols, but you do not steal from the Mongols. The Khwarazmian Empire, which was once home to millions, was wiped off the map. Today, Otrar is just a dusty ruin in the desert of Kazakhstan. But the legend of the molten curse remains. It reminds us that greed is not just a sin. It is a trap. Inalchuq wanted the silver. He wanted it so badly he destroyed his world to get it. And in the end, he got exactly what he wanted. If you enjoyed this descent into history's darkest moments, make sure to like and subscribe to the Scarlet Archives. Because the scariest stories aren't fiction, they are history.